Welcome back to Impossibly Unremarkable. This is a podcast hosted by two fine, sweet, kind gentlemen. Myself, Jonathan Butts, and my longtime friend, my semi-longtime co-host, depending on your view of time, whether or not it's linear or cyclical. Anyways, his name is Elliot Markson.
We're back for another episode of this podcast, and today we are two storm clouds above your head. You're praying to the gods, or the god, or whatever deity you subscribe to, and you're asking them, please let the rain stop, please let it stop, and no, they deny your request, and the rain keeps coming, pouring down onto your heads. Everything you own is wet and soaking, and you are cold, so very cold. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and you're fucking miserable too.
But you still are having fun.
Yeah, you still tune in week to week.
Okay. Hopefully. How are you doing? What's going on? How is your life?
My life is so good.
Really?
Nah.
Why not?
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, we'll talk about it at length, but we spent a lot of time huddled together.
We did.
And I fear it's altered our relationship.
Why?
I don't know, man.
I don't get that feeling.
You got pretty,
what happened to you?
You got pretty snippy at me towards the end. You're like
at you?
Yeah, you're like barking at me. You're like, get out of the car, fatty. You know?
Well, you wouldn't get out of the car,
so
you know, you got to get out of the car.
Obviously, last week we talked about how we were going to the Boundary Waters.
Yup.
We did that. We'll do a whole recap just like we did last year. It might not be as fun, a recap.
I think it'll be more fun.
It actually might be more interesting than last year.
Yeah.
It'll probably be more interesting.
More
than
interesting, maybe.
But beyond that, I was glad to come back, see my beloved Twins had clinched their division title.
Congratulations to the Minnesota Twins.
Super.
We got twins. We're
twins.
twins. It's fucking sick.
Yeah.
We're twins.
Are we?
No.
That
was
level?
the player on the Twins who said that. He said, we're
Oh,
twins.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick.
It's fucking sick.
Said that on the news, right? That was fun.
It's got a K-fan, or not K-fan, Carol Evan.
Yeah, good for him.
One of the ones.
That's awesome.
Really cool to see the Vikings drop the ball for the third straight week.
Literally and figuratively, yes.
Honestly, one of my favorite parts of being done with the Boundary Waters is like once you finally get service, it's like, oh shit.
It's kind of fun.
It's like a rush of
like when you
4
go up
days
there, you have no service at all. You get no messages. You get nothing. And then you come back, and it's just a flood of messages and things you have to check. And, man, I was so excited to check Twitter.
I had like 80 texts.
You had 80 texts?
Mostly group chats, though. So not like...
How many group chats are you in? 80 texts?
2. No, I'm in a fair number of group chats.
Wow. That's a lot of... That's like sort of a low-key flex. You had 80 texts. 80 messages of people trying to reach you.
No, they weren't.
You specifically.
I was
to get to
I'm
contact.
I'm in the group chats. Like it wasn't like 80. Like, hey, Jonathan's. It was like other things happening, and I just happened to be in the chain.
So. I see.
But yeah,
those are the worst. I always like.
Those are the worst.
Like when like group chats just keep popping off, and you don't have anything to say.
We're in two like very active.
Yeah, I've muted both of them. I'm just kidding. I haven't. I haven't. I see every message you say, even if it has nothing to do with me.
It usually has something to do with it.
Maybe.
You're kind of like the, if you looked at the world the correct way, you're like the sun.
I'm the sun.
You're the sun.
So everything's rotating around me.
Yeah.
I'm the center of the universe.
That's
of
how you
our
like
universe.
it. That's how you like it, don't you?
Of our galaxy.
That's how you prefer it, don't you?
Sure. I like to be the center of attention. You're right.
I don't mind being the center of attention. I don't usually get to be the center of attention often.
Really?
So when I can, I take advantage.
You always have my attention, buddy.
Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah. So I mean, we'll talk about the Boundary Waters, but we came back early.
Yeah.
Part of that was because my family has COVID right now.
Yeah.
So I so far don't have it. So I'm feeling my allergies, so I feel a little stuffy and stuff. I don't know if that's COVID, but I don't have any other symptoms at all. And I feel 100%. And yeah, I don't know. But so my son got it. We think we're not sure, but it's going around his daycare right now. So that could possibly be it. And then my wife got it from him whilst taking care of him in my absence. And then because she was sick, her parents came over and her mom got it too. So the whole family's in on it. And I still am yet to get it, which is a miracle, a minor miracle in my eyes, because it's a miracle I didn't get it before we left and then gave it to you all on the trip. And then I came back, and so far so good. It's been 2 days.
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind. I thought we might all contract it, but after like a day or two up in the Boundary Waters, no one really feeling any differently. I mean, Emily also got it, and so you kind of hit the point where like, all right, if I get it, I do.
Where did Emily get it?
I don't know.
Who knows?
She those parties she goes to.
Probably. She's always going to those raves.
Yeah, those raves.
She went to the Shrek rave not too long ago. Have you heard of that?
No.
There's a rave that's like Shrek themed. You like dress up as a Shrek character.
Okay.
You can be Shrek himself. You could be Donkey. You could be Fiona. You could be the dragon. I bet is pretty popular.
Could you be Simon Cowell?
Probably. He's in that universe, right?
He is in the...
yeah, he could be the... I would probably want to get a couple friends and go as the three blind mice.
The SCU.
The what?
The Shrek Cinematic Universe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I've always wanted to go to the Shrek rave. Not always. I just learned about it a couple months ago.
Oh.
But it sounds awesome. I don't know if the music's different. Like, are they just playing Smash Mouth or something?
Or
is it
it's probably just
regular
Smash Mouth.
music, just people dressed up? Somebody let me know if you've been to Shrek rave or know somebody. I mean,
where do they put this thing on?
I don't know. Like a venue?
In what, like...
Probably at like the Armory or something.
Oh, so it is in Minnesota.
I think there is one coming here, yeah.
It's coming here.
Well, I scan the old Ticketmaster every once in a while to see what concerts are popping up, just to see if I want to go to any of them. And I saw Shrek Rave on there, and it piqued my interest. So,
what would you be?
I told you I'd want to get a couple buddies and go as the three blind mice.
You said that.
I just said that. Do you have brain fog?
No, man. Just my first COVID symptoms just start to.
You just weren't listening to. I was saying you son of a
I'm
bitch.
sick. I'm sick. Nah, man. Though, but so you'd want one of us to be Donkey, and then.
Otherwise, I'd just go as the gingerbread man. All by my lonesome.
I was gonna say, I could see you as like a Pinocchio.
Pinocchio? Oh, that'd be cool. I bet most people just like paint their face green and then just show up. I'm Shrek.
Feels.
I bet some weird stuff happens at that rave.
Like what?
It's people dressed up as Shrek. I don't know.
I
mean, I feel like
I've never been to a rave. I assume it would
Me
always
neither,
be.
but I'd love the idea of it, you know? I'd love to just be there. Just
do the three blind
the other
mice
ravers
have names?
I don't know.
You don't even know.
They're just mice. They're blind.
Just mice.
It's a miracle they're still alive.
Not necessarily.
Blind mice?
Nature finds a way, baby. I
don't know what that means either.
I don't know what that means.
This guy's off. He has COVID.
No, I don't.
Not yet. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. So I'm happy to be home, happy to be with my family. I've spent a lot of good time with Wesley, and he's getting better, by the way, so that's good. He's still a little congested, but, he hasn't had a fever in days. I mean, his went down while we were in the Boundary Water, so he's almost out of the woods now, but he still can't go back to daycare just yet, so we're figuring that out.
Is he just popping off on some NyQuil right now, or?
No, they say not to, unless his fever was like over, I think 104 or something. They said not to give him anything because it's healthy for his body to learn how to fight it off itself.
I mean, yeah, he's going to grow up having to fight COVID, once a year.
Probably his whole life.
So might as well.
Which is crazy to think about. That's just going to probably come around like this all the time and ruin trips and holidays.
As true as that might be, I would say Wesley getting COVID wasn't the thing that ruined the trip.
What was?
The incessant fucking rain.
Yeah, we alluded to it in the beginning, but it rained quite a bit on the trip. More than I would have liked personally. I don't know about you, but
Yeah. You get tired of it, pretty quick. When you live with like a permanent roof above your head, you learn to, appreciate the rain as like a novelty.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining.
Right.
I'll watch it from outside. I'll take in the smells. I love the smell of rain.
I do too.
Who doesn't love the smell?
That's a city person luxury.
That is a city person luxury.
You're privileged if you can enjoy the rain.
And I want to preface this story about our trip by saying that for about a week and a half, it's maybe 2 weeks, week and a half before you can like start to see a forecast for a specific day. A week and a half, 2 weeks out, and the forecast was pretty unforgiving.
Yeah,
5 days of storms and rain.
Yeah,
and I expressed quite a lot of caution.
Yeah,
a lot of hesitancy about going forward without a solid plan B. It was mentioned once that we'd have a plan B. Never really followed through.
What do you mean? We had a plan B. Plan A was going to Canada.
No.
We're taking that long route up north.
No, not. I'm not talking
Plan
about...
B was Bear Trap. Plan C was where we ended up.
No. You're misunderstanding me. I'm talking about Plan A, going to the Boundary Waters.
Plan B not going at all.
Plan B, something else, doing something else. Because
going to Dave and Buster's.
If it were like very clear that we couldn't go, I'd want to take the time and still do something in the area. Be semi outdoors. But the day of, when we're at the outfitter, they have nice screen where they tell you the weather, and there's a.
Well, we've been checking it up until that.
Yeah, we're checking it every day.
So it had changed. Like 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever the highest amount was. It was storms the whole time, but then it started to progressively get better, and by the time we were about to go in, it said like partly cloudy, occasional possible rain, and I think one day had a storm, a little thunder emoji on it. So it looked like, okay, it doesn't look great, but it looks livable. It looks like we could still make a good trip out of it. That was my view on it. And none of the rain percentages were above 30%.
It's true.
So the fact that it rained on us for 65% of the trip was unlikely.
65 is
okay.
A very conservative estimate.
Let's go through this. So we went in on Thursday, and Thursday was a beautiful day. Thursday was hot. It was sunny. It was perfect weather almost for the Boundary Waters. I was canoeing shirtless at one point.
You were?
That's how warm it is, just to put that into perspective.
We all had custom Boundary Waters T-shirts that we were sporting. That I think I was the only one by the time we made it to camp that was still wearing it. Well, even though it was just absolutely fucking soaked in sweat.
My big transgression was that I had this coat on because I bought it. It was new, and I really wanted to put it to use. So I had it on because I didn't expect it to be that warm. And that morning, it was still a little chilly. I was like, I could probably do a jacket. And you're starting early, so I felt good right away. And then we started to paddle, and it just got so hot. But I just kept wearing it for far too long,
like a puffy winter jacket.
It wasn't a winter jacket. It looks like
something you could wear in the winter.
It's not thick. It's pretty light, but it is deceptively warm. It is so warm. I think there might be down in it. It's like the down jacket.
Yeah.
Like feathers.
Yeah, feathers.
It's supposedly warmer, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess birds know what the fuck is up. I guess they know how to keep themselves warm.
They do.
But it's deceptively warm because it was somewhat thin, and I was like, oh, this will be fine. This will be perfect for a moderately chilly day. And then it was just blazing hot, and I was sweating so much, and I took off that jacket, and my custom T-shirt that your fiance most generously made for all of us was soaked in sweat to the point where I had to take it off. I had to pop that shirt off. I had to get shirtless real fast. I had to be shirtless until we got there, yeah.
There was a point where it was like, it is so fucking hot. I could use some rain. I wouldn't say no to a bit of rain.
You're the reason.
Because last year when we went out, it was raining for the first few hours, but it was light enough, so it was kind of pleasant,
Yeah.
You kind of.
And that was the only rain we got.
That was the only rain we got. It might have rained a bit overnight, but not anything you would have noticed.
Yeah.
And so we get to camp. We thank fucking God. it was getting too late to try and go further. We had planned to go to a lake called Bear Trap, and we settled on a lake called Gun Lake. And there was 3 lakes between.
Yeah,
so 4 more
we
portages.
we ended up doing 6 portages, and we would have had to do 4 more. I would call it 3 though, because the one portage that goes into Bear Trap is 5 rods. Yeah. For those who don't know, a rod is the length of a canoe, so it's not very far. So that would have been an easy portage in. So it was 4 portages, but hardly. But it would have been at least another hour and a half of canoeing and portaging, probably.
But so we settled on this beautiful campsite. Very spacious, nice big kind of rocky peninsula that goes onto the water, so you can go pretty far out into the water if you wanted. Great kitchen area. It actually had 3 logs for benches. Pretty sturdy fire, like a grill fire setup. Yeah. Though that proved to not fucking matter.
I mean, if the weather was nice, it would have been a perfect site.
It would have been so pleasant.
It was very good. I don't know what that is starred on the BWC website, but I liked it a lot.
I went through and had nothing but positive reviews.
Really?
It was all positive reviews.
Yeah, it was sick. It was a sick site. It's exactly what you want. You want the nice rock face that goes out into the water, the good setup with the fire and the grate and the log seating and all that. It's perfect. And it was big going back far behind that as well. Yeah. So you had plenty of room for tents, plenty of room for activities to run around, play Frisbee, do whatever you want. None of which we really did very much because it was raining so fucking much. So that night, after that perfect day, it stormed that night.
Perfect. We had it was just perfect. We had a great dinner. We had a hot dinner.
Yeah.
Neil's our executive chef, so he cooked up some ramen and chicken and corn, and we had some honey lime chili sauce that we were putting on that shit.
Great meal.
So good.
Excellent.
And then the thunder came, and this was kind of the theme of the trip is we'd see a rain cloud and we'd be like, there's no way.
There's no way it's coming this way.
It's gonna pass. Look at
you
those
do the
clouds.
Thing where you try to see where the clouds are moving, and you're like, oh, it's definitely going away from us. If you can see
the wind is
the clouds
that way,
are clearly moving
here.
This way. The wind it's pushing it over towards that lake where those suckers are gonna get dumped on.
And so it started to lightly rain, and so we went into Neil's tent, which is larger. Elliot and I share a tent.
Yes,
obviously
we're tent buddies. Of course we are. Why wouldn't we?
It has to be that way. We most of our podcast content comes from a tent.
Could you imagine if we tried to record up there? We've talked about doing that. If we did it this year, we would have been
we've got
all of our equipment
hundreds
just
of
waterlogged.
dollars of equipment that would just be fucking ruined.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
But we were about to start playing games, and then the rain started coming down really hard.
Yes.
And you're like, is the you yelled at me, is the rain fly secured? I'm like, oh. You took a look at it, and you're like, get out, we gotta go.
Well,
move,
because
move.
it wasn't fully zipped. I think half of it was unzipped. So I saw it just flying in the wind. And I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta get back to the tent right now, because if we're going there, I'm not coming back.
And so we scurried into the tent. And we laid there, and I was getting anxious. My hands were shaking a bit because
I talked you down.
He did talk me down. The thing that concerned me most,
I rubbed your shoulders a little bit.
Wasn't the rain? It wasn't getting wet. It was the lightning and the
That's
thunder.
true. I deliberately set our tent up on top of a root of a tree, so that if that tree were to get struck by lightning, we would both instantly die together.
Yeah, we'd for sure die. But there were a couple ferocious lightning strikes fairly close to us.
Yeah.
Sounded like it was on just the other side of the lake or just behind us. And I was like, this is it, man. And
that's when you thought you were going to die?
That was the first of 4 times that I thought I might die on this trip.
I got to say, that first storm was the worst storm because of how aggressive the thunder and lightning were.
Lightning and thunder were crazy. The wind was really bad. That was probably the worst.
It was the most aggressive storm by far.
But then it cleared out.
But it only lasted a couple hours, maybe.
Yeah, it didn't last too long. And a couple-hour storm is for us for that trip. That's peanuts. That's nothing.
It's nothing.
That
was cake. I would have taken that again
10 times out of 10. And then the next day, Friday, we had a sunny morning again. Sitting around, it's almost too hot.
It was another deceptive day because it started off great, and there was even a few hours midday where the sun was beating down, and once again, I was shirtless at one point.
Yeah, it was stupid hot, and then the same thing happened. Oh, sky's getting
the clouds are moving in.
Oh, there's no way.
There's no way it's gonna hit us though. We got it last night. That would karma. I mean, we've paid our price. We've paid the toll to stay here. There's no way we're gonna get stormed on again.
And one thing to note, Elliot's tent, thank God, is waterproof.
Yeah,
with a functional rain fly.
My tent is built for the Boundary Waters. It's small, it's compact, and it actually keeps the rain out.
Neil's tent, I think, was made in the 40s.
I don't know when he got that tent, but he's had it a long time. I know he's had it a long time. I've camped in that tent before, and his tent does not keep the rain out.
So we didn't
hardly at all.
We didn't witness this, but during the first storm, Neil and Garrett, who were occupying the other tent, they reached a point where they were standing, completely upright. He's got a pretty tall tent. They were standing upright, holding all of their belongings that they wanted to keep dry,
like their sleeping bags and like
their
stuff
clothing,
like that,
because water was just pouring in.
Yeah, like they were standing up in the tent in the middle of it, huddling together, holding their things close to their chest, trying to keep them dry because the rain was pouring into the tent and they could not stop it at all. I can't even imagine. I mean, I didn't get to witness it, but I wish I did because that
would have been a great sight.
That would have been awesome.
Fortunately, we didn't have a lot of.
No, we were too secure and dry.
Rain fly.
I actually was probably almost falling asleep because of how comfortable
it was. Way too dry. But and so then day 2, the storm rolls in and hits us again. We really only had 2 real storms with thunder and lightning.
The first two nights were storms, and then the rest of it was just. I think that third day was mostly cloudy throughout the day, and then later in the day, no, that was the night we had a fire. The third night, right?
No, Friday night. Friday night we had a fire.
Oh, after the second storm?
Yeah, after the second storm we had. So Saturday.
Oh, right, because we left Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday. Megan is texting you and seeing if we can potentially come out early because everyone's getting COVID.
Right.
And we thought it over. Ultimately, decided not to. And
because I think of ultimately they were like, okay, well we already got it. We're already all exposed.
Yeah.
Just stay at this point. And then the next day things kind of flipped. But regardless, that next day I think we were going to leave anyways.
Yeah.
Because of Neil's tent and like we were just rained out, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think
enough rain.
And checked the forecast for the following day, that Monday, if we had actually left then, it was rain all day that day too. So regardless of when we had left, we would have been dumped on trying to leave. So,
but hindsight, as everyone says, is 20/20. We probably should have left Saturday because it rained towards the end of the day, like always. But at the start of the day, it always looked like it was going to rain because it was just so cloudy and gray.
Yeah.
But instead of using that time where we weren't getting actively rained upon, I think we spent 3 hours chopping wood that we ultimately never got to burn.
Right. Never got to use it because it was too wet after all the rain.
And then more so, we spent so much time building spears.
That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
I don't know what you guys were on because you kept like saying you were going to catch fish with spears. And I know for a fact that would never happen in a million years. One, I didn't see a fish in near our.
We didn't see a single fish. None
shallow area.
Maybe a couple of minnows, but nothing that you could.
I didn't see anything you could put a spear into. And 2, I don't think any of you are coordinated and well trained enough to spear a fish.
What do you have to be trained on?
I don't know.
See
accuracy
fish,
of throw.
Stab it.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna throw it. None of the spears were like throwable. I'm thinking if
you're telling me
comes close enough to the shore, I just shank it.
You think you could shank a fish?
Yes.
I'll give you $1,000 if you get.
You said this.
Yeah, I'll do it if you go to a real lake with real fish and a real spear. Get out there, try to spear one. I'll give you $1,000. You come home with a fish.
All right. He's not going to follow through when I spear the shit out of a fish.
He's not going to spear a fish.
But it was. I mean, it was just. That was probably.
That was the biggest waste of time of the whole trip. But that's kind of what you do up there.
You made yourself a spear.
I did. Well, there was, nobody was playing games. It
started with me whittling away the tip of a stick that I had been given and turning it into a spear, and then everyone followed suit, and the spears got larger and larger. Probably the dumbest part was that Neil, he didn't go for whittling away the end of
it wasn't good enough for him
to make it sharp. He cut a divot in the tip of one of the ends of the spear, and then found rocks that he would try to whittle down against other stones so that they become like spear points. And he was gonna
he was trying to make like an arrowhead, from a rock to put on the end of his spear. However, I think he did not consider how difficult it is to alter the shape of rocks.
He spent so much time. He spent...
I think he was rubbing that rock against another rock for hours. Hours. And he kept going like, look at the progress I'm making. And we were just like, wow, yeah, you can really see it wearing down.
His first attempt, he was rubbing his chosen rock against the peninsula, like the Rocky Peninsula.
Yeah.
And I think after maybe an hour, he realized that the rock I'm rubbing against this other rock is harder than the rock. So I'm actually shaping the large rock beneath the small rock.
Yeah.
And then he started shaping it against a different rock, and he was like, he kept having to wash off the rock, and he was using like the little bucket that we use to like wash
our dishes.
So there's like probably rock particulate.
So we go to wash dishes after a good meal, and there's just like little rock particles in it.
Very fine rock particles. So
I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He never even made that spear.
He never did. And even if he had been able to like fasten and secure the arrowhead into the tip of the spear, there's no way it would have stayed.
He would have had to like tie it on there with some like paracord or something.
Yeah, but his was absolutely most far-fetched.
Worst spear.
Yeah,
didn't even finish it.
I felt like my spear was good, and then you guys made your spear.
Yours was good. I felt like mine was pretty good. Garrett's was too heavy.
Garrett's was way too heavy. Didn't have the eye for balance. But I will say my favorite moment of the trip was when I was looking for a fish to spear.
Yes.
And then I'm like, hey, guys, look up there. And this beautiful giant bald eagle flew overhead.
That was cool. So, I mean, I've seen eagles before, but
all right,
that close was pretty sweet. It flew over our campsite and landed on a branch just... I mean, like, not far. Like, we could see it pretty clearly.
It sat atop a tree that was overlooking our campsite, and it
sat there for a long time.
It sat there for maybe an hour or two, and occasionally it would make, like, these beautiful eagle sounds. I'm not going to dare attempt.
It was something like that. It was beautiful.
That might have been...
Think of that, maybe up an octave.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe pump it up an octave.
Try it. That's...
Something like that.
It's going to come through.
Something like that.
But it was gorgeous, and every time I went to go film it to try to catch it making sounds, it would stop. But it watched us for a while. I think it was probably telling us to get out, you know.
It was probably trying to warn us. I think that was some sort of omen, like, hey,
it's going to rain.
These woods aren't safe for you, boys. Get out.
And so Saturday night, I think we all came to the conclusion we should probably leave Sunday.
Yes.
We're going to get up at 6.
Of course.
We're gonna hit the ground running, and we're going to get out of here quick. I think I woke up at 4 or 5 Sunday because it was raining hard, and I really had to pee.
Yep.
But I refused to get wet while peeing. That seems wrong.
Yeah, it seems... no, I mean, that's just kind of what you got to do, man.
And so your alarm goes off at 6, and you wake
up,
and you're like, oh, let's give it another hour. And then 7 hits.
Yeah.
No one wants to go portaging in the rain. And no one wants to paddle in the rain. Not in a hard rain.
We were hoping it would slow down at least, you know, to like a sprinkle, and then we could get out of there. But
wrong.
No, it if anything, it came in waves. Really, it was like it would slow down, and then it would come back even harder, and then it would kind of just go like that for the entire fucking day. It didn't stop. So by like 8 a.m., we're out of our tents. And we're like, fuck it, we got to start getting going. You know, we got to start packing up. It's not stopping. If it's, you know, hits a lull, maybe we can get going. Maybe it's not raining on other lakes if we keep going. You know, maybe it's at least lighter over there. I can't really tell because I'm clearly no expert on clouds based on how this weekend has gone.
Yeah, no.
There was hope that maybe we could get out of there and it wouldn't be as bad as we continued to travel.
We were wrong. We were wrong. We probably should have gotten on the lake pretty, a lot faster than we did. We had all right, to Elliot and I's credit, we got our shit packed quick.
I was upset about that, low-key, because we were packing up. We had our tent and everything done. I had put everything away. Everything was packed up in its little bag, ready to get packed away. And then there's our companions that we travel with, and one of them, I will let you decide who, decided, no, guys, we need some breakfast and coffee before we get going.
Yeah, let me make some coffee first. We had 4 freeze-dried meals that we brought,
Yeah.
And so like, let's get those. We don't have to cook
Those are
much.
usually the last meal because it's just the easiest.
Yeah. And I'm like, let's just eat, one of the 40 bars sitting in our food barrel.
I had already had 2 Cliff Bars that morning. Like I was like ready to roll already.
And so, we had our shit packed. It took maybe 20, 25 minutes to get like breakfast and coffee ready.
I think it took longer to get breakfast and coffee than it did to actually take down her tent and pack everything.
And
away.
I wouldn't have minded if it were like dry, but it was raining that entire fucking time.
Yeah, it didn't
and so
stop.
By time
So we're
I got
eating in the rain.
By time I got my chicken and pesto pasta, which is such a stupid thing to try to like
At 8 a.m.
Yeah. It was like okay. It way too much water in it because again, it's fucking raining the whole time.
It's so funny. I was like, I think I looked over to you. I was like, "Hey, how's your pasta, man?" And you were like, "Mostly water." And then I peeked in, and it was just like soup. Like it was like
it was pasta and freeze dried chicken, just like kind of
just
floating
floating
around.
It was basically like chicken noodle.
Yeah. If it had the proper amount of water in it,
pesto.
it was probably good. But no, it was just like, I guess I'll just shovel this into my mouth.
Yeah, I think
So
my coffee was like half rainwater, which is probably good. It's natural.
And the other thing is like all of our dishes, like every time we clean them thoroughly with dish soap and fresh purified water.
Mm-hmm, of course.
But then you set them back down under a tarp and they end up getting shit all over them.
Yep.
So just like it was just a fucking miserable experience. And once
awesome.
we finally get onto the water, I mean, every which way we're going, we're paddling into the wind.
I felt like we couldn't escape it. There were points where I was trying to turn the canoe and get away, like get the wind behind us so we could at least like push in the right direction, kind of. And it just, I couldn't do it. I don't know what was, the wind was everywhere. The rain was everywhere.
And there would be a gust of so it was windy, but every once in a while there'd be like a big gust of wind that would last for a couple seconds. And you like, I don't know about you. I mean, you have probably a much less bleak outlook than I do. But every time that would happen, I'd be like, this is the one that's going to get us. Because it's a canoe. It's not the fucking Carnival cruise line. It's a canoe,
The only time I thought maybe we could tip was on like that big lake, the Four-Town Lake. But
so comparatively, our first few lakes, getting off a gun, ferry, there's another boot. Those ones were okay. The portages,
they're kind of smaller lakes.
Portages
lakes weren't too long.
so it was fine. And then we get to Four-Town Lake, which is going to be our longest paddle.
Yeah, it's the biggest lake that we paddled on the whole weekend.
And as soon as we get off the portage and you can see the lake, Elliot immediately is like, I don't think we can get on this.
Like I got to the end of the portage and I immediately turn around to whoever was behind me. I think I told everybody as they were coming in.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, we can't paddle on that right now because there was white caps. So it was like the wind was blowing so hard, even harder on this lake than it was on the previous smaller lakes. I mean, it's bigger, so that's kind of to be expected. So that was kind of my fear before I even got to it. And then I saw it and I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way. Like, the wind was howling, and there's white caps on the lake, and the waves were looking a little too treacherous, and I turned back to everybody, and I'm like, we can't paddle this. We cannot paddle this right now. We need to try to wait.
And by this point, we've been soaking wet for hours. Like, we had...
Since 8 a.m., since we left our tents, it had been raining on us, so everything we had was wet. I was waterlogged. My boots were so wet. Everything was wet. Like, I don't know how, but like I had 4 layers on.
He had 4 layers.
And every layer was wet.
You could take any part of any, like, so I'm wearing a jacket over a sweatshirt, over a shirt. I've got my pants, boxers, my socks. You could squeeze any part of me and water would just come pouring out. And then you could do it again because you're still being actively rained on the entire time. And so there was a point where we were all huddled together trying to keep warm. And we're like, let's give it 15 minutes,
This that was the one point. So I felt pretty confident throughout the whole journey back, like that we'd make it and it would be fine. But that was the one moment where I was like, oh, I see how people can die out here. Or like I see how people die from the elements because holy shit. Like if we had just stayed there and been like, you know what, fuck it, let's wait out the rain, which would have been hours, by the way. like we could have stood there, been cold, and gotten colder and colder and colder, and who knows? Like, I don't think we would have died, but I think we could have been pretty cold. We could have gotten close.
I definitely felt like we were going to die.
I feel like I would have been the first one to go.
I think I made that very clear.
You were saying that since we got on the water, though, to be fair.
Well, because
you've been saying it all morning, so.
I felt it. That's true. That's true. I was probably maybe a bit overreacting, but I felt it the most strong while we were staring at Four Town Lake with its white caps. And, there's no way for us to get warm. We cannot make a fire.
Yep.
There's absolutely nothing we can do. And so it's either, sit there, pray it gets better. Spoiler, it didn't. Or get on the lake and just hope that you're going to be okay.
I mean, the other thing was we could have set up a tarp or something over us. But at that point, you're kind of setting up shop, right? Like you kind of commit to waiting longer, and I didn't really want to do that.
And it's not like there's here's a pad to place your stuff. It's a portage. It's a trail through some woods, and on either side of you, it's just woods. There's not any clearings or anything.
I mean, you could kind of get out of the wind in the trees a little bit, a little bit,
not by much. And I also want to say I am very terrified of drowning. I don't know how to swim
or tie your shoes.
I can look at those.
Oh yeah.
Those puppies are tied. So I was very scared on that front, but I'm even on the brightest, non-windiest day, I'm still, it's in the back of my head.
Sure.
So eventually we decide, just let's fucking do it. And so we get on the lake. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It honestly, waiting a little bit did, the water was able to calm down a bit, but it was the hardest we've paddled. I mean, we maybe said a couple words to each other.
I don't think I said a single word. I don't think most of that morning I said a single word while we were on the lake.
We didn't talk
paddling.
a bunch. Neil and Garrett were fucking singing songs and
I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
It was just another Tuesday for them. It didn't matter that they're soaking wet. And there was a point when we were just paddling against the wind that I'm I just wanted to put my hand in the water, and the water felt really warm to me, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh my God.
I felt that too, and I had the same thought. I was like, wait, when you asked me that, because you put your hand in the water, you're like, does the water feel warm to you? And then I felt it, and I was like, yeah, it does. And then in my head, I'm like, wait,
it's that
should the water feel warmer than my hand?
It's not a good thing, right?
I'm like, I don't think the water's that warm today.
But honestly, it was just, for whatever reason, it was pretty warm.
It
was definitely warmer than the rain that was just consistently hitting us.
I don't know if my hands were just that cold or if the water was actually that warm. I'm not sure. Either way, doesn't matter.
So we get off Fort Town, and as we're trying to get onto land to start portaging, there's these four guys and a dog. Love dogs.
Oh, I love that dog.
He was shivering though. He looked cold.
I know. I felt bad for him.
But four guys that are about to get on Fort Town and oh, how's it been? It's it's been 4 days of shit, man.
Fucking look at me, man.
I'm wearing Adidas sweatpants that have 15 pounds of water in them. No one's doing well right now.
I have to say, I do not like the part of the Boundary Waters where you're coming into a portage and someone else is leaving or vice versa, and then they try to talk to you or and it's always the same bullshit. It's always hey, howdy. Or
how's the fishing?
Any fish biting out there?
Do you see a fishing pole?
You're I was not fishing, man. Do I look like I have a fishing pole? Leave me alone. Leave me be.
I don't mind the banner. I minded it then just because it's all right, dude, get on the water so we can get off the water.
Let's move this along. I'm wet and I want to go home. Let's go.
And then as soon as we're about to get onto land, we're the rain stopped.
Yeah, the rain had stopped as soon as we got there.
And then you look back on Fort Town Lake, and you start to see parts of blue skies, something we hadn't seen in 2 full days. And it was this is just the worst thing ever. Because now these guys are going to have the time of their lives. Although the dog would probably...
It probably stormed later that night, I bet.
Honestly, it probably hit him again.
Probably did.
But then we had a fairly easy go of it. It wasn't actively raining on us the rest of the time.
Honestly, it was beautiful the rest of that day.
Well, then you could actually appreciate it. Wasn't as cloudy. It wasn't gloomy. You could actually, get to enjoy the nice, beautiful fall colors.
There were points where I literally was going slow on purpose, and I was just sitting.
Yeah, me too.
Listening to the little stream in the woods and looking up at the colorful leaves because I'd never been up there in the fall before. So it was super pretty with the leaves changing, all the reds and yellows, and still some greens. It was absolutely beautiful and breathtaking.
Yeah, I also...
And there was points where I was like, yeah, this is why I come up here. This is awesome.
I also was intentionally slower than...
yeah, I saw that.
Than the rest
no,
of you.
you do that for every portage, though.
I just always trying to take it in. I recognize that I'm like totally a mooch. You know, I'm there kind of...
I don't think did you carry a heavy bag once?
No. But when you're carrying... I will say this.
It's fine.
There were many times where I carried 2 backpacks or 3 backpacks. And
hey, that's nice.
On the return journey, when everyone's backpack weighs 20 pounds extra...
That's true because everything was wet.
It was tough. But if you guys don't want me to be a mooch, don't invite me.
It's fine.
I'm there for the social. I'm there to be really annoying, but maybe a bit entertaining.
You're the comedic relief.
A little bit.
No, I don't mind. And also, like grabbing the back, like running back through the portage just to grab a backpack is super fucking annoying. So I'm glad we have a backpack
guy. But eventually, we made it to our entry point. We all, stripped down into dry clothing.
Yeah.
You owe me those socks, by the way. Where are those socks?
Oh, shit. I don't know.
It's fine.
I'll just get you new socks.
There's other ways you can pay me back.
Oh, all right. Okay.
But so, we're trying to conclude our journey. We drive back. It's like a 40-minute drive or something to Ely.
Yeah.
Get to the Outfitters. They closed 30 minutes prior to us arriving there.
Because that week they just decided that they're closing at 6 instead of 8. And we got there at 6:30, I think.
It was like perfect. Just another thing.
Wonderful.
Eventually, a guy comes, very nice. He's like, "Oh, our hours are 6 now." It's like, dude, how often do you think we're here that we just know that?
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
We came back a day early. Clearly, we're not doing very well, and we're like unpacking all of our shit. And we have these, giant Duluth packs that just have like 6 inches of just standing water in the bottom of them, and it's like just crazy. And
I don't know how. I don't even know. I don't think those are supposed to get water in them. I don't know how that happened.
Probably not. There's so much shit in there that got just ruined too. Like Garrett's board game was just fucking obliterated because it was just probably soaking wet all day. But then eventually start heading home and get some McDonald's. We all fuck up some good McDonald's.
I haven't eaten like that in so long, and I know we stopped I had a McChicken on the way up.
He had a McChicken,
but on the way back, I had 2 McChickens.
He did,
and I had a medium fry too.
He was talking about it. On the portage that you're gonna.
I was like, I'm gonna have.
I might even get a medium fry.
And I did, and it was so good, dude. It was so good.
But honestly, now I have, I used to love the rain, and now I absolutely hate it. Like it's just too much. And there was a point when we were driving, Garrett was driving us back. Thank the Lord that we didn't have to focus on it. But the rain was coming down super fucking hard. Oh, so there was a point where both you and I were like, looking past.
I had to fight so hard not to be like, hey, I think it's gonna lighten up though. Or like just say some stupid shit that we've been saying the whole trip.
Really bad visibility.
I could tell like Garrett was not in a mood to do do that shit.
But we made it home. We're gonna probably talk about that trip for quite a long time.
Hey, I was saying like, hey guys, like we're gonna be having a good chuckle about this by the end of the day, and we did. We did have a good chuckle, and it's just it may not have been the best trip, but it's our most memorable thus far.
That's true.
And you'll never forget it. Now you can always tell your kids, your grandkids, your nephews, your nieces, that you survived the great storm of September 2023.
I think one of my favorite parts of, one of my favorite observations was when we're coming back on each lake, you'd occasionally see a campsite, but you didn't see anyone out.
Yeah.
You didn't see anyone out and about because no one was fucking stupid enough to be on the lake at that time.
Yeah, I mean, we were just tougher, I think, than they are. I think we're just tougher. I mean, we're probably more outdoorsy.
I mean, absolutely tougher. You put the Titanic, the Edmund Fitzgerald on any of those lakes, they're at the bottom.
They're at the bottom. They're sunk.
Ain't nothing on us. No one's gonna sing a song about us.
You can't sing these guys. You can't sink us.
Can't sing us. No one's gonna write a song about these guys stayed afloat.
Yeah.
They don't write songs like that.
They like to write songs about tragedy. And that's not what this is. Triumph is what it is. Anyways, awesome trip. I thought it was great. Looking back at it, I had a great time. We still made a lot of great memories, had a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. Definitely worth it. We'll go back up. And, hopefully we get a little bit of rain so we can relive it next year.
We're going to have to alter the... I can't go in September. I just can't do that. Emily's gonna say it's okay,
Yeah.
but if I'm getting married in September and like 2 weeks prior,
That's
or a week
probably
prior,
a good move.
I'm risking a broken ankle or, being at the bottom of
Maybe
Moose Lake.
maybe we could go up for a couple days in the spring or August or something.
Yeah, we'll figure
Because
it out.
you have to do spring or like late August, early September. You don't have to, but the
I feel
mosquitoes
like
otherwise will
mosquitoes and
eat you alive.
Can you imagine being up there in a tent and it's like 100 degrees?
Fuck no, man. I would.
Awful.
That might break me if I'm being both eaten alive by mosquitoes and it's 1,000 degrees in my tent. Nah. I don't. I love camping, but not that much.
No, not that much.
No.
We're at the 45-minute mark.
So,
all right.
what do you got? A time limit? You got somewhere to be?
I mean, no, but
Yeah.
traditionally we've hovered around the hour. No more, no less.
I don't care.
Okay.
Recommendation of the week.
I've got a recommendation of the week.
You do.
I do. It's going to tie into something I've been doing, but I figured it could.
All right.
Because, Elliot keeps talking about how he's trying to learn the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I know a billion guys
Yeah.
who play the guitar.
That's true. You do.
They're all
You
annoying.
know them personally.
They're all annoying. I'm going to recommend to you the kalimba.
What is this? I mean, I know what it is. I've seen it. I can see it right now.
It's
But
so Emily, I don't know. I think Emily was going to try to like give it away or sell it.
Yeah.
That kalimba that she has like a little crack in the wood, but it's still perfectly functional.
Oh.
Basically, it's like a wooden box and it has a bunch of like long metal tabs, and
Yeah.
you just kind of flick them or like plunk them.
yeah, you pluck them, I think,
Yeah, you pluck them
or plunk them.
you gluck them, and then it just makes a sound. And for me, it's pretty easy to pick up. Like I've done music. I mean, I haven't done music for quite a few years, but when I was in school, probably K through 12,
Yeah.
I was doing music.
Yeah, recorder. This guy.
I
think you learned Ode to Joy even.
No, I was terrible at recorder. So
Even
I've
then.
been musically inclined, but I was awful at the saxophone. I gave it up after taking
Hold
an F
on.
in band.
Musically inclined.
Yeah,
Are you?
I mean, like I'm putting air quotes.
You just
around
said every instrument you've tried to learn. Basically, you haven't been good.
no.
at.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Which one are you good at?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And then I just started trying to make sound with my voice, and eventually
that's
gave
right.
that up too.
You do have pretty solid pipes.
No, not really.
If anyone wants to know.
The theory of it, the structure of it, rating music and
Yeah,
all these things, I just was not willing to put an effort to.
sure. It takes a lot of work.
And so when I pick up the kalimba, I'm like, pew, pew, pew. Oh, that sounds like something. And
This is nice.
It's fairly easy to pick up. You can just, people list out all the tabs or whatever you call them.
Yeah, it's like guitar tabs, but on the
Yeah.
kalimba.
Yeah.
Tabs.
And I could play a little bit of I could play like, Avatar's Love from.
This guy's gonna be playing
The
like
Last Airbender.
Radiohead on the kalimba.
But I'm like playing a little bit and like sort of semi getting it. Like there's not a whole lot to it. It's like
Sure.
16.
I saw it. It's just
16
like,
pieces
it's just
of metal.
the
that you
basic
just-
notes, then you just hit them.
The thing I'm running into is my hands are too big.
There's not like sharps or anything on there, is there? Is there like a
What does she
like a
say?
C sharp?
I think maybe. No,
Or
there's not.
I think
sharps.
it's just A through G.
Yeah, but there's little things on them that tell you what they are, and I'm not willing to put in the time. But it's a neat little party trick.
That's fun.
So that's my recommendation.
that's cool.
Get a kalimba. I feel like they can't be super
Where do
expensive.
you get a kalimba?
The kalim? I don't know.
I'm curious. I've never actually seen one before.
I think she got one as a gift, so I don't know.
I'm wondering if they sell them at like Guitar Center.
They probably do.
Could you guys show me to your kalimba section? You guys have any kalimba accessories? Could you get an electric kalimba?
That
Would
I'm
be
gonna
pretty
look into.
sweet.
I'm gonna be shredding on that. That's how we're gonna.
I
our intro going forward is gonna be played on a kalimba.
yeah. If you can play something,
If you can give
sick.
me the tabs for our intro,
I'd have to figure that out.
figure it out.
Okay.
That's my recommendation. Elliot's like, oh, you're really not gonna have a recommendation.
Well,
for the
come
third
on.
week in a
You
row.
have been not coming to the table prepared, and I don't have one this week. So thanks.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding. I actually have a recommendation specifically for you because I like to try to recommend music to you, and for anyone out there. But this artist, if you're cool, you probably already know who they are. You might know who they are as well. Have you heard of Gene Dawson?
No.
All right. I would recommend Gene Dawson and his music. He's sort of like a similar vibe to like a Steve Lacy, I'd say. Sort of like what? You don't like Steve Lacy, do you?
I don't know who Steve Lacy is.
Yes, you know who Steve Lacy is. Are you kidding me?
Who is
It's a
that?
bad habit. That one. Wish I took another stab at it. Come on.
Oh, okay.
You know that song. That was on TikTok. That was all over the place. That song was huge. Anyways, he's got a good vibe. He makes like vibey music, and some of it's sad, some
I like
of it's
vibey
fun.
music. So Gene Simmons, you said?
Nope. Gene Dawson.
Gene.
He's
Gene
awesome.
Dawson.
He's a unique artist that brings sort of a vibe to the table that a lot of other artists don't do. So
Cool.
he's awesome. I've been exploring his discography again. I do that every once in a while. I find an artist that I know of already, but maybe I haven't taken a deep dive in a while or haven't listened to their projects. So I pick them and then I go through all of their albums. So let me recommend a specific album to you because I need to give you a starting point. Let me just remember what it's called here. Oh, another thing to note on Spotify is that that old Flatbush Zombies mixtape just got put on there as well earlier this month.
You heard him.
Their old Better Off Dead mixtape. That was pretty awesome.
Flatbush Zombies.
That record's sick. I would recommend you start with his latest full length album, Chaos Now. I like that one.
That's a good name.
I feel like that's the those are your vibes.
Although that sounds like eerily similar to Apocalypse Now.
I also like his record Pixel Bath. And he dropped 3 songs on, I guess it would be an EP or some kind. I think it's listed as a single. It's called Destruction for Dummies, Part 2, Gene Dawson as Nightmare. But there's 3 songs on it, and those are some of my favorite songs of his, to be honest. So I'd check him out. He's awesome. He's sick. He's cool.
You
He's
heard it
fun.
from Elliot. Go check out Shane Dawson on Spotify.
Nope. Okay, it doesn't matter. It does. I'm okay. That's fine. Anyways, yeah, his music's sick. So check it out.
I'll check it out. Chaos.
I think you might like
Chaos
it.
Now.
Yeah, do that.
That's a
Chaos Now.
That's a hard name. That's a hard name.
Hard. Just like us. Hard. We're hard.
We're almost out of time, so I'm gonna.
No, we're not. Stop trying to end this thing, man. I'm gonna keep it going.
Our camera only has so
My
much.
family's sick at home. I can't go back there. Can I sleep here tonight?
Sure, man. The couch is all right.
I'm just kidding.
The couch is all right. You're gonna have cats all over you all night, though.
Yeah, I can already feel my cat allergies creeping up.
I'm glad you always take an allergy pill. Like
I never do. I never do. Yeah, you want to do question of the day? Do you got one?
I have one. I don't have an answer to it, so maybe
That's
you will.
fine. No, that's fine.
All right,
I
so
probably won't.
picture a movie or a television show that within it promotes a fake movie or television show.
What?
So here's I'm butchering this. This is a great question for
I
everyone.
get what you're saying, but okay, go.
So, what fictional movie or television show would you want to be real? I'm gonna throw out an example. So you've seen Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Always Sunny. Within Always Sunny, there's a running bit about a movie called Thundergun.
Yep.
Thundergun Express.
Sure.
They're very passionate about it. So I would like to see that become reality.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
So this is why I was hesitant to ask the question, because that was an example Emily came up with. I can't think of anything else on my own.
I would say I always as a kid watching iCarly, I always wanted those pair phones to be real, which I know doesn't really answer your question, but it's somewhat related in some way.
That works.
I know they were just taking a bite off of Apple's whole thing, if you catch me. But I always thought the pear was a more fun shape, and I always wanted a phone shaped like a pear, just like Carly on iCarly, and Jeanette McCurdy, whatever her character's name was. Sam, and Freddie, the guy with the camera.
And Gibby.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
And
Spencer. That show's sick. Did you watch the reboot of it?
Nope.
I did. It wasn't that great. It was like
Sam wasn't back.
No, she refused to do the show, which for good reason.
Very good reason.
But The reboot was fun. I'm trying to think of other examples of what like fictional shit I'd want to come to life, but not just fictional shit. Fictional shit within fictional shit.
Yeah, fictional
is
shit.
what you're saying.
Within a fictional shit.
My mind goes to like Rick and Morty, those episodes of like those TV commercials.
Oh yeah,
those are kind of fun.
Interdimensional cable.
Some would be scary if brought to life, such as the man taking his skin off, but. The two brothers, stuff like that, kind of looks like fun. I could get into that a little bit.
Nice. That was a very good. That was such a good answer.
Thanks, man.
Way better than
I did. I answered that one like for you, because I knew you would relate. I knew you would take that and you would hold it in your hands, hold it tight, hold it dear. I know you'd love that answer. I know you'd want to make love to that answer.
All right. Bizarre news.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh. Trying to rush me along. I'll just slowly
speed run this thing.
Get the old bizarre news up. And we talked about Shrek earlier, so let's talk about it again. Did you see this? Shrek Swamp listed for a weekend stay on Airbnb. Did you see this?
I did see that.
So Airbnb is offering a free weekend stay at Shrek Swamp, a Scotland home designed after the fictional ogre's tree stump abode from the Shrek movies. Speaking of fictional things coming to life,
a swamp hut.
A swamp hut is coming to life, hosted by Donkey. I don't know what that means. I don't know if does Eddie Murphy stay there? Is there just like a donkey?
That would be pretty cool.
There's just a physical donkey
There's
there.
just like a loose donkey
that
comes with the place.
Yeah,
That's
you just have
cool.
to. You also are tasked with taking care of it while staying there.
Keep the donkey
You have to
alive.
cook it waffles. It can be booked for up to 3 people starting October 13th. Airbnb said the stay is not a contest, but will be booked on a first-come, first-served basis. So it sounds like they're anticipating a lot of people wanting to come stay at the swamp.
3 people max?
3 people max.
Sounds
like it's not a very big
what
swamp
an
home.
odd number.
That-
That's pretty good. Right?
It is an odd number.
That's pretty good.
Was that a joke?
Math.
That was a math joke. Okay, so this stay is completely free in what Airbnb called a nod to the priceless refuge Shrek Swamp has provided fairy tale creatures of all kinds. Is this what the fuck?
I think this is Airbnb trying to get some
publicity,
some goodwill in a time when I think the business itself is struggling quite a bit.
Probably.
Do they comp your flights to Scotland, or do you?
Definitely not. But the stay itself is free,
so
which
it's not free. So this is a really cool, a really nice thing for Scottish people and kind of an inconvenience for...
What if you got there and it's literally in a swamp and it's an actual fucking dump?
That would be pretty cool.
You're just like, why? What the fuck?
There were way more than 3 people in that swamp.
I know.
In that hut. So that being
they're
a
saying
factor.
they're trying to create provide a home for all types of creatures.
Who would you...
Only 3 at a time, though.
Obviously, you would take Megan, and your son, but if I went, Emily and...
I don't think Wesley would count. I could bring a 3rd.
All right, that's just in. Elliot doesn't see babies as people.
No, I don't think Airbnb sees babies as people.
He doesn't see them as people.
Airplanes don't see him as a people.
That's fucked up. I think you should have to pay to...
I should have to pay...
Emily and I go, and then we take someone 3rd wheels as we go to a swamp hut.
I mean, it says up to 3. I don't think you have to book 3.
You got to make the most of it. Or you just go solo, and that's
okay.
Just you and the donkey.
Okay, so it also features oversized furniture, earwax candles, and an outhouse. Oh, good. The bathroom's not even inside. Excellent.
It's a swamp, dude.
It sounds like an awesome stay.
You want a flat screen TV and a massage chair while you're at it?
Oh, I couldn't even bring Wesley. It says... The listing states children are welcome but must be at least 5 years old. Probably because it's a liability to have kids younger than 5 staying in a swamp for too long.
So stupid.
I can't even believe what
I hope
the hell.
Airbnb collapses.
I hope this doesn't even pan out. This sounds dumb.
Bring back hotels.
Honestly, dude, I'm kind of on that now too. I used to love Airbnb, but now every time I stay in a hotel, I just feel so good.
Also,
and every time I stay in Airbnb, I feel less good.
Okay. There was a point, I feel, at which Airbnb was it made sense. It was cheaper than hotel rooms, nicer than hotel rooms. Yeah. And now it's $400 cleaning fee. Also, here's a list of 15 things you need to do. Otherwise, you're gonna get your reservation canceled. I remember when we were looking for your bachelor party and we were looking at Vegas, and every single listing was like, "There's noise sensors in the backyard."
Yeah. Or like no partying. It's like, what do you think I'm here to do, man?
It's Vegas, my brother. People are gonna.
Where do you think you live?
Not we wouldn't trash somewhere, but it's like
No.
if the noise reaches an unacceptable level, you'll be kicked out and the police will be called. It's like, what?
Yeah,
Who are you?
it sounds like a place that's had bad people.
But that
stay there
was
before.
every single listing. You're making an Airbnb in Vegas. You kind of have to accept.
Maybe they're bluffing.
The kind of people. Could be not really something we want to test.
Or like I'd stay in one and it's like, oh, like it's a nice home, and then it's literally someone's home and their family pictures are up everywhere.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
I told you that story about the St. Louis lawyer.
Yeah.
So we stayed in this Airbnb in St. Louis, and it was one of the creepier Airbnbs I've ever been in. One, because of all the family photos everywhere, like people I don't know, pictures of them hung up all around the walls and in the living room and everywhere. And one of the photos was of this man, and he was very distinct because he had an eye patch. So, I mean, there's not a ton of people in the world with eye patches. You don't just come across them all the time, right?
Not very frequently.
I made a note of that in my head. I was like, man, the guy who lives here has an eye patch. That's sick. And then we were driving in St. Louis just down like the highway. And we see this big ass billboard like across, like kind of near the stadium for the Cardinals, the baseball team. This huge billboard.
Thanks for the
the baseball team. You know,
added information.
You know who they are. Go Cards. I'm just kidding. And so we see this giant billboard, and it's got this man's face, and he's got an eye patch, and it's the same guy. It was for a law firm. The man's a lawyer. The man Airbnb-ing his home to me and my wife and her parents at the time, because that's who we went with. He was a lawyer with an eye patch, and he had a billboard on the highway. How cool is that?
It's pretty cool.
I mean, how often do you see your Airbnb host on the highway?
That reminds me when I saw a billboard in Minneapolis, the city.
Oh, right.
You know who you're talking to.
I don't know, just for the listeners in case they didn't catch it.
All right. Well, we are officially out of time. We've covered the topics we just said we were going to cover. So
yeah, some of them, yeah.
Why don't you play us out?
Don't be afraid of the rain. Don't be afraid. It's not pleasant when you're in it all day, but you can get through it. You can get through it, and you can see the beauty at the end of it. I feel like that journey to the car on the BWCA trip, that taught me a lesson on how get through the tough times, and there will be good ones on the other end. So just keep that in mind as you move forward in your life, and just keep on keeping on, baby. That's right.